Hi, my name is Jiangfang Yu, aka Felix, FJ, Felicia. I have so many names, I know. I am the co-director and initiator of Drag Up project. When I was still a student, I spent the whole of my free time going to queer places, watching gigs, drag performances, and eventually I wanted to be a part of it. So I started my own drag act last year. The drag persona is called 404 Not Found, which represents the female figures who are oppressed by Chinese contemporary societies. So why drag up? I think living in London as a queer person taught me one thing, that drag can be everything. Drag is a lot more than what mainstream media showed us. Drag is so personal and intimate and also powerful as an art form. So drag up in English, there is a meaning that you decide to mention something that you didn't want to mention before. So you bring up the topic, maybe buried in your memory or your heart. And I think we use drag up also in Chinese. It means to put makeup on, especially in our traditional theater, opera art forms. You drag up, you get prepared, you get ready to show yourself, to act on stage. That's drag up. And we use drag up as the title of the project. It is a decolonizing drag performance making project. We would like to invite participants from Chinese background or East Asian queer background to tell our own stories.
Hi, my name is Matt Tam. My pronouns are he, him. I'm an actor, singer, and stage performer, and I also work behind the camera in film. Drag has always intrigued me. I've been trying for a long time getting my foot into the musical theater world, and there aren't that many roles for me as a queer Chinese person. So recently I've been going to a few gay bars and I've just been watching drag queens do their thing, and I was so inspired, and I feel so welcome there that I thought to myself, maybe I should try this. Maybe I could give this a try. And never knowing where to start, because all the drag queens I've seen have always been British and white most of the time. And me as a Chinese person, I didn't know where to start. So as soon as I saw the post by Queer China UK, I was like, this is what I need. This is what I need, and this is the right moment to do this. And I feel like I'm ready.
我叫陆亚冰，然后我的 drag name 是 Ishi Flatland，然后我的 pronoun 是 she hers，中文是她，然后我在伦敦做一个区政府做服务设计，然后主要就是改善政府的服务啦。我的女朋友给我转发了 Queer China UK，然后关于这个活动的介绍，然后觉得挺有意思的。是有一点点戏精的那一面的，是想被别人看到，但可能平时自己不会展露出来的一面的。虽然也不知道是什么，但是觉得可以借这个机会去 explore 一下。如果我想跟比较陌生的人去表达我，因为我觉得平时跟陌生人见面还是一个比较谨慎的状态，比较 polite， 但不会想要做特别夸张的事情。但是如果我可以给别人看到，我也不知道。 奇怪的一面的话，会是什么呢？但是那个奇怪的一面还是要关于我的。
My name is Yellow Banana, and I'm a documentary and filmmaker. I was not quite familiar with drag because I never did drag before, but I was always very interested in this. And because I, from a theater background, I did a lot of performance, did a lot of movement before, and I'm very interested in exploring my body, in thinking of the different ways of represent my body, different ways of associate my body with my identity. So the moment I saw this workshop, and I felt like I really want to try this. I really want to take this opportunity and to like drag up, and also I was in the transition of my figuring out my identity and my sexuality as well. So I think that all kind of happened around the same time.
我的名字叫天一，我的 pronouns 是 she her， 然后我现在在伦敦上大学，我刚上完大学2年级，我在学戏剧。其实因为我之前在学校，我有很多同学朋友啊，他们都做过 drag， 然后我也在学校里看过很多他们的表演，但是我自己从来没有尝试过，也没有想过要尝试。但是这回因为正好碰巧看见了有这样的项目，跟我的时间也比较合适，我就来参加。我觉得还是挺打开了一个新的视野的，因为我自己有很多东西就是我自己可能不会太专门去了解，但是通过这些工作坊，我就感觉了解了很多我之前不知道的事情。
我是林照，我今年25岁，我的人称代词是 she her， 然后我现在是无业游民。我看到了 Bling 和秋白的朋友圈在宣传这个 workshop， 然后就很感兴趣，然后点进去发现这个项目也有包宏伟老师参加，然后我在写论文的时候有引用过他关于一部纪录片的评论，所以就是就感觉能有这个机会亲身体验一下也挺不错的。同时非常吸引我的是参加的话每天可以报销8磅的交通费然后我就参加了。
FJ
我去看介绍的时候他有写是 decolonizing drag， 我觉得可能跟其他的，如果去参加其他的 drag workshop 会不一样，因为他有专门去写说可能我们固有的印象里主流的 drag 是这样子的 RuPaul， 然后呢但是我肯定没有这样子的身材而且我也不想做一个这样子的 drag。
To me, the decolonizing drag performance is not letting mainstream and often Western-centric drag culture and aesthetics influence our performance. And one of the points that Dr. Bao brought up is that in traditional Chinese opera, it's a commonplace for performers to dress as the opposite sex, and it's been done over centuries, and it's seen as a mainstream and high form of art in China. But over here, drag is only in the queer space and only sort of more of an underground club scene situation. And I never thought of it like that. That drag in China in that form is mainstream. So after thinking about all of that, it inspired me to dive deeper into my Chinese heritage and sort of find ways to incorporate Chinese opera elements into my performance, whether it's not only just the aesthetics but also like hand movements like this, like sort of in Cantonese we always call in Cantonese we call it 兰花手, and we always get made fun of as little boys to when we hold things like this, and it's sort of we get laughed at as being feminine. But so I thought, okay, if you laugh at me like that, I will use this in my whole performance, sort of in drag. So sort of incorporating something that I felt a lot of shame in as a kid, and now using a lot of it in my performance was very, very liberating for me.
我就经常会想说，那如果是一种亚洲的化妆方式，或者是更具体的中国的化妆的方式去做变装的话，难道它的那种夸张的效果会大打折扣吗？还是说，因为我们没有去探索过这方面这个方向，所以我们也不知道会是一种怎样的效果？我觉得这个是，如果是从外在的造型上来讲的话，我就会有这样的疑问。然后另一个方面是我们在塑造 character， 或者是我们想通过我们的角色表达一些什么故事的时候，我觉得非常重要的一点是，我会想去避免自己去做一些自主的去做一些阐述性的劳动，就是说把一些文化上面的或者是一些事件主动的去翻译成英文，然后或者是预设我的观众都是一些西方白人的观众，我需要向他们解释我的故事的背景是什么，我的角色的经历是怎样子的，我需要向他们去解释。我觉得我会想避免去自己去主动去做这个过程，然后我会想达到的一个效果是，我希望他们能通过我的表演也好，我的角色的塑造也好，能让他们主动的去了解一些，哪怕只是主动去 Google 一下，哎，发生了什么事，为什么我会这样去表达，为什么我会用到这样的一个元素在，我都觉得是对我自己来讲算是一种成功的表演了。
Like my understanding of decolonization through drag performance really changed a lot, especially when we actually performed in the venue. That day I was thinking, whatever the outcome is, whatever, if we did good or not good or, not perfect, it's all right. I think the process is the whole performance, the process of doing that performance is decolonization itself. Because I feel like decolonization is a long process. It's always in the process. I don't think there's an ending point. We will say, hey, we finished the decolonization. I don't think it will exist, or it ever existed. But even just us, even just like 7 Asian queer people occupying the space, giving that performance out, and trying to deliver our message through our performance, and trying to weave that message between our personal identity, personal experience at the end, the character we built. And I think that whole process is decolonizing. And I think, I think we did great on that part. I think that's my understanding of it. I think I gained a lot from Lusty when they did the workshop with us, like exploring what is a drag, or what does it mean to like decolonize drag performance. I feel like that was the first time I actually clearly understand or figure out what does drag mean, to not in a general sense, but like what does drag mean to me as well. And after that workshop, I started to like very deeply think, like trying to think like what's the message I want to say, and what's the ways I want to express myself through the drag performance. And the other kind of very surprising moment, I think, is just during the workshop, I witnessed a lot of the efforts and progress my fellow drag performer made. I think down surprised me a lot when because I feel like she also never did drag before, and I saw her from the very early stage point of bringing the idea of Mulan and trying to build up the character until the to the final point of the performance, and when she was on stage. And I heard a lot of really good things, good feedbacks from the audience, that I was asking my friends, like, who surprised you most, or who left a good impression on you. And a lot of my friends mentioned that. I think her message or her ideas are so clear, and she made a lot of changes and efforts during the whole workshop, which really surprised me and make me feel happy and proud for her.
好几个事情都可以 inspire 我，就是第一个周末的时候请了一个 drag performer 来，不然我错过了，但是我看他 note， 他叫 Lucy Lovelace， 然后最 inspire 我的一点是，他在创作的时候，他会去把能够 inspire 他的这个诗和他要最后呈现的东西结合在一起，就是让我看到 drag 它不只是拙劣的模仿，它可以是有自己的原创性和艺术性，和就是自己的灵感来源。
My name is Lucy Lovelace. I am a drag creature based in London, and I've toured all over the world. I am a multilingual, eager costume storyteller. I like to perform in different languages and in different forms, from spoken words, stand-up comedy, dance, you name it, and I'll do it. That's what I do. Drag is so significant in queer history, and today it holds a lot of relevance with drag growing mainstream. We have different kinds of attention on us now. So we have different ideas of who should do it, what form it should take, and also who dictates it, who has a right to it. And I think speaking to people of EC heritage, I think it's also important to acknowledge that we have a place in this. Our cultures do have history of this in their practices. And what I learned today as well is that me and my Western mind likes to impose that word of drag on things, whereas a lot of people came to share that they don't have the word, but they do have the practice, and it's normal. And I think that's also so important to acknowledge. Just because places in the world don't have this terminology doesn't mean that they don't have the history or anything like that. So it was so wonderful to be able to share and learn from each other. And I think this could be one in many conversations, really, as we continue to understand and expand on the richness of drag, what it is and what it can be, because it's ever evolving and it's essential, it's beautiful, especially in this time of political turmoil, which is kind of timeless, that phrase, but now in Britain, in the world where we're criminalizing drag, we're being pitted against each other. I think it's so important to go back to what drag is, which is community and self-expression, having a safe space to be able to do all of those things, whether it be in the bar, in the club. But I also believe we shouldn't just be in those spaces. So having this discussion as well with the participants, we're in theatres, we're on the streets, we're doing performance everywhere. But yeah, drag is essential, it's beautiful, and it was lovely to share it.
就关于它如何去殖民化，我记得当时印象特别深的是，我们跟也是那次在 Common Press 放映完结束以后就跟那个 Will 聊天，然后就问他说你是怎么去通过你的 drag 来这个去殖民化的？然后他说因为我是中国人，所以就是无论我做什么，只要是我表达出我自己的真实的经历还有情感，只要是我自己真实的东西的话，那我就是在做这个去殖民化的这样一个事情，因为我本身就是中国人。然后对，我觉得这个是非常有启发的。然后就其实我们这次表演的这些人，每个人的做的东西风格都非常不一样，但是 也并不是说所有人都是非常中国呀，然后非常传统的一些东西，但是就是只要是我们表达出自己的东西，就是在增加一个不同的声音。
是我们看那个 Extravaganza， 但是其实是他那个导演和他的 partner drag queen 来跟我们讲 Q&A 的时候，他有讲到说，在做 drag 之前，你要先想好自己要做什么，就是不要上来就是做 costume 做 makeup， 而是你要讲什么样的 story。然后我觉得他有一个对话特别触动我，他说就算这一场里面所有的观众里只有2个人他能够明白你在讲什么，那你的表演就只要传递给那2个人就可以了，不需要所有人都明白。我觉得他因为把这个事情极端到这个地步，所以更让我去想，这个表演是为我自己的，不是为别人的，是我要表达什么，而不是我希望大家怎么样。
Hi, I'm Matthew Barron.
Hi, I'm Will Dai.
I am a British filmmaker and queer community organizer based in Shanghai.
I'm a queer community organizer, a musician, DJ, designer, and drag performer. I perform as Dynasty in Shanghai.
We are here today to present a documentary we made in 2018 called Extravaganza, which is about the drag community in Shanghai at the time, and also to talk about Shanghai's drag scene to a group of participants in the Drag Up workshop.
So we made this film 5 years ago about what the Shanghai drag scene was like back then. Presenting with the film, we did a little bit of introduction to the scene in Shanghai back then, and also just a queer culture landscape, I think, in Shanghai in general. And then after we screened the film, we also talked a little bit about what the scene is like today, because 5 years on, a lot of things have changed, and a lot of people in the scene are different as well. So hopefully people find inspiration and interest and encouragement and knowledge in what we presented, and with us talking about our experience and our community in Shanghai.
I think this is a fantastic initiative. I hope that it's able to happen again. I think it's really great to have a sort of creative and safe and diverse space to inspire new drag artists or to engage people in drag. It's been a really great experience, really open and welcoming, and I hope that it can be bigger and more often. Give them more money so they can do more, please.
I think as a drag performer myself, I found that the difficult thing about doing or becoming a drag performer is to stay inspired, and is to stay sure about what you actually want to present in your drag. As an art form, I think it is the carrier of your message. So, to have, I think, different forms and different approaches of drag being presented in a workshop like this will be really great for people who are interested in drag, or people who are thinking about doing drag themselves. Because I think at the end of the day, did I say that right? At the end of the day, I think the most important thing is knowing, why you're doing drag, and like what makes your drag different than any other kind of drag, and what is something that only you can do with your drag. And I think having different kinds of workshops, different kinds of outputs and inputs will really enrich the participants' understanding of drag as well. So it's not just a very single directional, narrow definition that's sort of dictated by popular media these days.
Hey everyone, how's everybody doing tonight? name is Yellow Banana, and welcome to Drag Up. So this is my first drag show, and me and 7 Asian queer performer, we've been preparing this for the whole month, and we really worked hard on this. So can you just get one more applause for everybody here? Okay, I have one more song for you guys.
这是我第一个 drag show， 然后这个 drag show 它由3部分组成，第一部分是一个肢体的动作，然后那个部分叫做我是牛，我是马，我是男人，我是女人，然后这个部分是来源于一个 filmmaker， 他名叫做 Sally Potter， 他一个电影叫做这个名字，然后另外2首是2首朋克摇滚乐，一首叫做Asshole I'm Not Your Baby 是来自挂在盒子上的一首歌曲，然后另一首叫做酷坏女孩是刺猬乐队的一首歌曲。对，我把这3者进行了一个组合，然后变成了我这次表演的一部分。就是因为我自己受很多女性主义的作品影响，因为第一个萨利波特她也是一个女性主义电影人，然后挂在盒子上是第一支中国女子朋克乐队，他们很早之前就在做朋克乐，90年那会儿。对，然后我在思考这个 drag show 的时候，我就很快就跟他们的作品联系到了一起。然后最早我的想法是这个 drag show 会跟女性身体跟生育有关系，但后面呢，其实它的信息变得更隐晦一些，然后但可能它的核心就是因为我的表演开始是一块白布裹着我自己的身体，让我身体尝试中脱出来，然后中脱出来之后，我变成了一个摇滚明星，然后我尝试用那个歌曲去反抗在我身体上那种束缚。对，这个是我可能对这个 drag show 的一个构思。
我表演的 BGM 是韩国的一位女歌手李贞贤的《哇》，然后这首歌其实它是一首韩文歌，所以它的歌词的意思其实我到现在其实都不是特别的清楚，但是我觉得这首歌给我的感觉就是很好去发疯。我准备了一些纸上面会写了比如说各种语言的代表疯狂的意思，然后我会在表演当中去发放给观众们，去达到字面意义上的一种发疯的效果。然后我的表演大概就是这样。
我要做远方的忠诚的儿子，和物质的短暂情人，和所有以梦为马的诗人一样。
我要表演一首诗，我做了一个我表现这首诗的视频，然后我还有配合当场的表演。
我一人独将此火高高举起，此火为大，开花落英于神圣的祖国。和所有以梦为马的诗人一样，我借得此火，得度一生的茫茫黑夜。
就是孩子的这首诗《以梦为马》，它里面就提到了好多次说祖国的语言，然后里面有他的理想，其实他的理想就是它里面有说到去建筑祖国的语言，然后他的一个理想，其实他想用他的语言，就是用中文，然后来做一个更新的，然后更宏大的一种创作。他想用他的方式来重新搭建祖国的语言，然后用中文来创作。然后这里面也有很多语言，就是中文。然后我今天又想，我就把这个构建语言联想到了我们的这个项目，就是我感觉我们的项目也是在构建一种属于我们的新的语言，就是我们如何在现在这种就是欧洲或者西方的意识形态主导的社会之下，我们如何来发出我们的声音，如何来构建我们自己的语言。所以我觉得我们在做的事情也是表达我们来构建我们的语言。
太阳是我的名字，太阳是我的一生，太阳的山顶埋葬诗歌的尸体， 千年王国和我，骑着5000年凤凰和名字叫马的龙，我必将失败。但诗歌本身以太阳，必将胜利。
For this performance, so I'm sort of playing a character that's loosely based on the Chinese legendary character of Hua Mulan, but it's not a very close match. It's more like a particular interpretation of it that's loosely based on her. So the performance will have 3 parts. So in the first part, I will be reciting one part of this ancient Chinese poem, the original poem, which the legend of Mulan is actually based on. In the second part, I will do a few Chinese martial arts and also dancing moves. And then in the last part, with the background music on, I will be singing this one small part of a traditional Chinese opera from Henan province, which is in central China, that's also based on the story of Mulan. I think one feature of my performance is that I'm trying to sort of introducing sort of both feminine and masculine elements into some of it. So, for example, like in the middle part, I'll be doing a few martial arts moves, but there would also be a few dancing moves, which are kind of like a more sort of feminine in style. And also, the part of the poem which I'm reciting is also about Mulan going off to war, with the story that everyone knows, in place of her father. But it also talks about how she longs to return home, and also after she returns home, then she kind of like, in some ways, kind of like returns to her role as a woman. So that's kind of like a mixture of both of these sides. And the part of the traditional opera which I'll be singing, it's very old. It is actually a traditional Chinese opera piece, but it's got a certain sort of like a feminist sort of perspective to it, and it's quite well known, at least in certain parts of China. But I think very few people in the West has ever heard of it, which is partly why I want to just like sing a little bit of it.
我的这个 character 叫 Ishi Flatland， 他姓 Flatland， 因为他是从2D 世界来的。然后他叫 Ishi， 因为就是他是 Flatland 里的，来 2D 世界到3D 这个世界的这样的一个人。因为我之前看一个美国印第安人土著人，他就是他们种族的最后一个幸存者。然后因为被殖民的人都杀光了嘛，然后他们后来他就不得不来到这个新世界，然后学会新世界要怎么生活的。然后他叫 Ishi， 就是因为他这个种族的人是不可以在不经同族人的介绍之下跟陌生人讲自己的名字，所以他统一对外都是用这个语言讲他叫人，而不是他真正的名字，所以我就用了 Ishi。然后为什么我选这样的一个名字？为什么我有这样的 concept？ 就是因为我觉得我也是，就是从一个世界到另外一个世界，然后要学会一个新世界的，要模仿新世界的人是怎么生活，然后适应它。它不仅仅是我觉得国家呀、文化呀，我觉得也是每一个人生来就是本来是有自己的特性的，但是生下来到了这个大世界之后，就是它有它既定的规则，别人是怎么走路的，别人是怎么说话的，别人是怎么 behave 的，这一切都是要去适应的。 但是我觉得，比如说我为什么要做这样的为什么要选2D 的世界，包括这个也是想要去，是因为我本来就喜欢这个，但是我觉得日常生活中我要是每天都是这样子的话，应该会很奇怪。包括我也可能，平时也会被人家说更小的时候会说，像机器人呐、或者是就是怎么就是一根筋，比较固执。我觉得跟我这次的一些动作的想法也有关系。我觉得可能就是特别线性思维的，然后但是在别人看来就会很奇怪。对，然后我就想表达，如果是这样的一个2D 世界的奇怪的机械的人，到了所谓的更现实生活的3D 世界之后，他怎么去模仿其他的人，然后他怎么失败的，然后他最后要怎么办
？Yes, so being one of the 7 participants, I've put together a number that is about the way Asian, but especially East Asian and Southeast Asian women are treated in the West, and particularly the view or the stereotype that they are essentially sex workers or are both very sexual as well as being sexually submissive. Where that idea comes from historically, which is true, we see things like opera Madame Butterfly at the start of the 20th century, which starts to have this stereotype of a kind of submissive Asian woman, or leading up right to now, in a way a lot of Western media still portrays this stereotype, even if the work itself doesn't set out to be a racist work. And that sort of intercut with me singing parts of the song Rent by Pet Shop Boys, which is a song that I've wanted to perform in some capacity or another, because I think it's a great subversion of a love song. It starts out, sounding like it's just someone singing about the relationship, but in fact it's a song about some form of transaction. Essentially, the singer, gives love to their target, and the target pays their rent, financially supports them. So that's the kind of point of view that I wanted to do my performance. The other thing is that normally when I've done drag, I've been doing drag for a year now, often in cases I do a variety of lip syncing. I sometimes do stand-up and hosting and spoken word as well, but tend not to do both together at once. And I also very rarely sing because, let's be honest, I'm not the best singer, but I think this was a good chance to at least push myself to try something that is very different in style from my usual type of performance, as well as, I guess, confront an issue that's otherwise not discussed very much. But, it's still very much aligned with my own sort of point of view as a drag artist, which is doing a mixture of satirical things, but also being a bit sexy.
Because wherever the Western gaze is applied, the Asian woman is a submissive, stupid sex object, at once fetishized, infantilized, and despised. And these women's voices and lives weigh nothing on a white man's scale, treasured for being pale, but not pale enough to be seen as a person, just as objects for Western desires for sex or violence, or both at once. Because we celebrate sex work and sex workers, but we do not celebrate those who hurt us, who threaten us, who would strip us of our ability to speak out for ourselves, to seek recognition, empathy, and personhood. They would wipe us from history if they could. They would fuck and throw away what they should respect, because that's all we ask for, respect.
I'm the light every night in your world. Are you ready to watch me be legendary?
The idea for this song that I'm gonna sing came from when I watched this film called Over the Moon. It's a Netflix animated film about the Mid-Autumn Festival and the story of Chang'e, the moon goddess. When I first watched the film and saw how they've interpreted the character of Chang'e turned her into not how we view her traditionally, but in this version, she is the queen of the moon, and one of her lines is, "I'm the light every night in your world." So she sort of rules the moon, I found that really cool, and how they've modernized her, and she's like a pop star on the moon as well, which I love. So when I saw the film, her big song, her big number was just wowed me so much that I thought this would work really well as a drag performance. And so since then, I saw it in 2020, the film. It came out then, and I used to sing it all the time in my room, dreaming I would perform it one day, and finally found the chance to do it. So thank you, thank you Queer China UK for letting me do that. So it's been a dream come true. So my interpretation of the song is, for the costume, I think is a big part of it. So I am obviously now dressed in very traditional, like Hanfu looking, inspired look. And then the inside is, there's going to be a reveal, and all silver, like an astronaut, like, because she's on the moon. So sort of like, if Chang'e's on the moon, she needs a spacesuit to, to live and everything. So the idea is like sort of a big reveal. She is Chinese, but also likes to party with all this disco colors and silver. So yeah, so that's the idea.
Yeah, and after the performance, it's quite surprising because a lot of people came to me and reached out to me afterwards saying how beautiful you are. You're pretty, you're so talented, you're such a good performer. And I was really shocked because, especially when people comment on my beauty, on the beauty of my body, on the beauty of my style, and I was really shocked because I never received such comment before. Especially as a man, as a boy growing up, you wouldn't hear your parents or your fellows comment you pretty. It's always you look cool, or you look like they comment you when you look masculine, or you have a good fit body. Because my style it's a kind of feminine. It's a punk rock girl. So, and when they told me I'm pretty, I was very happy, and that really made me to think that I can represent my body, I can exhibit my body in different ways, and I really enjoy that process of dressing up myself in different ways, not following a specific rule or not following a specific image. Yeah, I think that feedbacks from a lot of friends and audience really made me start to ponder my relationship with my body and how do I want to dress up myself, what kind of image I want to exhibit in front of others. And that really made me think a lot, and also gave me so much confidence that made me believe that I'm like, I have the energy and power, and I want to show it to everyone. like who I want to be.
就是我记得我那天表演的时候，我有一个动作，就是要在吧台上面捶那个大理石吧，应该是捶那个板。然后我捶完了之后，我觉得可能是情绪上来了，一时没有控制住。其实我表演刚一结束，我就发现我的手肿了。然后后来也就是发现这个半个拳头就是青了一片。然后我没有想到我这么用力的去表演，然后甚至是真的是身体上面感受到了表演带给我的这种力量吧。我自己会戏谑的说我在表演的时候是愤怒调节失灵了，所以我才会这么用力的去捶拳，然后这个淤青好几天都还没有好。但是我觉得我每次看到的时候就觉得也不会觉得很痛或者很烦或者是什么的，我只是会觉得这是一个我用心再去做表演的一个在我身体上的体现，所以我就还是觉得蛮有意思的吧。就整体来说，就是觉得一开始觉得万事开头难，但实际上真的逼迫自己跨出了那一步，就发现好像是我完全可以做到的事情，所以就还挺开心的。
当天我们就是开始准备之前，我们有一个就是大家一起 get ready 的一段时间，就所有人我们都在一个房间里，然后一起待在一起听歌，一边听歌一边化妆。然后我们最开始准备之前有一起来大家来一起做热身活动，然后来做我们跟不同的跟大家互相学习，互相的那个表演的动作。反正我觉得当时就是最开始那一段时间在那个空间里面的氛围非常的好。
没有，结束之后就很快乐，这一周就是一身轻松。然后可能就是同事，我告诉我的同事我去 drag performance， 他们都是什么很夸张，但是我最后也没好意思给他们发 poster， 虽然他们问我能不能来看，我想了想，我觉得可能还是要分开一点不能让我的同事但是我有给他们看一下照片，然后跟他讲我背后的想法。我觉得这种方式也蛮好的，我不用在现场感受到我的同事他们看到这些会怎么样那种紧张感，但我之后可以跟他们分享我为什么要这样做，我的心里的这个心路历程。这也是一种可以让他们看到我这面的方式。好。
I guess if you ask me how I feel, I'm still processing it right now. It's been less than a week since it's happened, and still trying to. It's an overall really super positive feeling, but I'm still processing it in terms of how I feel about it. But I already want to do it again.
I want to say to our participants, you have your creativity in yourself, and it is brave to embrace it, to embrace who you are or who you want to be. But hopefully we can create this space together for our creativity, for our trust and care inside the community. So just go. And to our audience, I think forget about everything you thought you know about drag or Chinese queer or Asian queer living in London, and be open as well and ready to be wowed. Yeah.
To the participants of this course, to all people of EC heritage really, you have so much power, I think, and drag performance is one way to unleash it. You have so much within you, and the world is ready for you, really. I'm so excited to see what everybody does, because there should be more EC stories on stages. And for me, drag was the way to get it out there, and I'm so glad that I have this art form to be able to tell my story, and I encourage everybody to do the same.
Drag can and should be for anybody. Never think that you need to hold yourself back because you don't fit the perceived standard that's held up as like, oh, the makeup has to look like this, the hair, whatever. I think always be safe, but always be as fearless as you safely can be. Don't let anyone or anything hold you back from expressing your art, however it is that you want to express it.
Yeah, I think, drag is an art and drag is a culture. And it is something that is constant, and it is something that is also in everything. I think if you really want to do drag, find inspiration in different kinds of culture, in different kinds of queer culture. Find inspiration in different definitions of what drag is. And yeah, makeup is easy. Makeup is the easy thing. The hard thing is knowing what you want to do.
And what you want to say.
And what you want to say. Yeah. So, yeah, but still have fun.
Thank you.